We're going to hear at this time from one of our graduates, one of our distinguished high school graduates. He is such a passionate little young man. Not little, big young man. And he's excelling in more ways than one. He's excelled as our drummer, self-taught, spent the time to say, you know what, let me try learning something new. And so he is coming to us as our very own Brandon Coburn, as our first high school graduate. Let's put our hands together for him.
I didn't have much time to fix this, so I'm gonna need you guys to tell me how. Look, good? All right. So how are we doing this afternoon? We're doing good, all right? Let's get right into it. It's not too long, but not too short still. I want to get the point across. So, all right. When I was asked to speak, I asked myself the question, now where do I begin? And I don't know about you or anybody else, but the start of my high school experience was one you could call a little unconventional. It didn't start the normal way of waking up in the morning, putting on school uniform for the first day, or waking up to go catch the bus early in the morning, or me waking up late and mom coming into the room and saying, "You're not going to school this morning?" Nope, not me. The first day was quite the opposite. It was spent behind a computer screen. And if you guys weren't here to live through that year of 2020, you probably wouldn't believe me when I say that. But my first day, August 24th, 2020, was spent behind a computer screen, desperately trying to figure out, how do I get into my classes on this new program that Miami-Dade County Public Schools created, which, by the way, didn't end up working at all. So was it really me, or was it the program? We'll never know. But we got past it. And it's actually funny, because now I look back at it, it's funny, but when at my graduation, they actually called us the COVID kids. And it's a funny name, but when you think about it, in a way, they were right. In so many ways, I and so many other students entered high school in the midst of a pandemic and cruised through our first year without even seeing the inside of the building. The inside of the building, we just technically went through a whole year of school and we never even saw it. But in spite of that, we continued and we persevered, and for that, I have to thank God. Now we move on to sophomore year, year 2 of this journey we call high school. This year, a lot happened. For one, it was my first year actually going to school again. And as much as I complained about having to do online school, you get to kind of miss it when you realize you have to wake up early and go back to school. But, well, I guess it was for the better. And you realize there's no more rolling out of bed and hopping on a Zoom meeting in your pajamas and relaxing all day. There's no more of that. I had to actually get up, put school uniform on, and go to school. This was also my first full year playing football, which a lot of you, many of you probably didn't know I did. And believe me when I say it's much easier sitting and watching the Dolphins on a Sunday than actually going out on the field and playing. I promise you that. Not only on the physical side, but on the mental side. Having to compete in the hot Miami heat every day and having to deal with injuries. And even though you know you should be resting, you try to fight through just to get back on the field. All while being a student and trying to figure out how you're gonna get everything done. Keep my grades up, deal with school life, football, home life. It did get crazy, but I asked for it, so I can't really complain. One thing I can say, though, is this sport is not for the weak. I can promise you that. It was definitely hard at some times, but by the grace of God, I got through it, and I finished year 2. Junior year is up next, and unlike the other 3 of the years, this had to be the most uneventful year of the 3, but I can say personally it was definitely, might be up there with senior year maybe a close second place for the best year. It was the first year that kind of felt normal again. After the crazy madness of freshman year and the readjustment of sophomore year, the craziness of the years before, it felt like a cool down. And God knows, and me and many other students needed a little bit of a break. But we won't dwell on this year too long, because next up, it's the big boy, the finale. The year you can't wait for as a student, the last year of high school. The finish line that started so far ago that many of us can't even remember it. Senior year. The last of the four, but certainly not the least. The finish of nearly 12 years of school up to this point. And I can tell you from the first day, it felt different. And as you go through the year, all the different events start to come. Homecoming, senior breakfast, senior picnic, prom, and plenty more. You start to realize that it's really almost over. And right as you feel that feeling, another feeling starts to hit you. And for anybody who's gone through school or gone through senior year, you know what I'm talking about when I say senioritis. Senioritis is real, people. Senioritis is very much real. All of a sudden, you just start to feel lazy. And they're lazy when you're trying to do your schoolwork, or homework just becomes even more of a chore than it ever was before. But we persevered. For any student who is soon to get into your senior year, I'm warning you now, senioritis is no joke. But just push through it, you'll get through it. But after all that, after all the events, the work, the stress, the sometimes long nights, and the senioritis, I finally made it to graduation. And even through the slight chaos of graduation rehearsals and trying to find enough tickets so that family could get there, and being able to meet the requirements to even graduate in the first place, it still didn't really feel real for me. But spoiler alert, once you walk across that stage and get the diploma, it definitely feels real. Now I can stand here to say, and many others, that I graduate high school. I did it. But it would be completely wrong of me to even try and act like this accomplishment was completely by me and me alone. I can't stand here and honestly say that if it were just me by myself, I would have been able to do the things that I've done, because that would be a lie. If it weren't for my parents, mom and dad, my brother, aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, friends, and many more, I would not be standing here today saying I graduated. So to everyone who helped in any way, even if it was just a word of encouragement, just know it was appreciated, and I just want to say thank you. And before I finish, I just want to say, I know that there is still so much more ahead of me, and this accomplishment is just a check off the list, and there's plenty more. And nobody knows what's ahead of me, but with God, I know I can do all things. I will leave you with this quote that, believe it or not, I actually heard on TikTok, which is crazy, but it goes like this. I'm confident in the next chapter because I know the author. I'm confident in the next chapter because I know the author. And I know that God is the author of my book. So despite the challenges or hurdles I may face in my pursuit to expand my capacity for greatness, I have no need to worry about what comes next. And neither do you, because you know who your author is, and we know there are great things in our chapter. God bless you, and thanks for listening.
I don't want to stop clapping. Bless the Lord. I thank God for Brandon. And I know for all of us that meant different things, but it was so impactful just now. Amen. God bless you. And we too are very, very proud of you. Amen. Amen.